Hello there guys, welcome to Dave's Easy Tutorials. This video is going to cover the page setup. Now I've got a little document open up on screen so you can see the text, and to set your page up you need to do it at the very beginning of the document, so when you start a brand new document really. But where you would go, you go to the tab Page Layout and then you come down to the Page Setup group. Now the first thing that you will see is the margins. Now these are preset margins. You just click your little drop down list and you've got a set of preset margins. So your top and bottom, left and right. I like an inch all round, so that's why it's 2.54. You come down here, normal is an inch all round, but I've just made a custom one. You've got a narrow margin, top and bottom, half an inch, like 1.27 centimeters, left and right. So you can just select any one of them. Mirrored margins, I'll explain what they're about in a second. But it's when if you write in a book or something like that, that's when you would have the mirror margins. But I'll show you them in more detail in a second. So all you would do here is simply select the margin that you want. Orientation of the paper is here. Now this is whether you want portrait, which is default to most documents, or landscape. If you wanted landscape, you just select that and that'll switch it round. Paper size, this is the paper size. The default paper size is A4 for UK, but you just pick whichever size that you want, and that will apply to this document. A4 is the default on this machine. Columns, I'll come to columns in the next video, because I'm going to do a video just on the breaks, which is the page breaks and section breaks, and the columns. I'll do them all as one. Line numbers, well, you can put out line numbers in, so you can have continuous line numbers, and that'll put your line numbers down. We find that very handy when we first write in a manual, and then we can say, like, page 6 line 102, have a look at it. So that's what we use that for. It's quite handy in a lot of times, but it is line by line. We'll just say none to that, we'll just take it off. And hyphenation, that's when you want to hyphenate your document. I'll show you that in a second, and it's easier for me to explain because I'm actually showing you in it. We'll just say none at the moment, but you can hyphenate the document as well. So setting your pages up is pretty much that simple, but you might want to set it up through the dialog box. Now what you do here, you just click on that little button. That will then bring up your dialog box. I'll put it in there so we can see it all. It consists of 3 tabs: your layout, your paper size, and your margins. Now your margins tab is set here. Now I've got top margin 2.54 centimeters, and the bottom is the same. Left margin, now I can just spin them round if I want to, and that'll adjust the margins, and you can see here it's showing you down there what it's all about. So it is pretty straightforward stuff. If you go here, look on the left margin, watch this little left margin here, just this little bit there, as I spin it up. You see it's showing you, and you get a little display. It's only a little display, but it's just to show you that it is picking it up. Your gutter is the area down here. It would be down one side of your paper, and it's for binding purposes. So if I spin up a gutter, that's for binding, or when you put them little holes in to put them in ring binders and things like that. And this is the gutter position. I can change it to the top, so now you could do it bind it at the top, or you can bind it to the left. Pretty much easy, but very handy when you need it. The orientation section of it is landscape portrait, so it's literally either landscape or portrait. Then you come down to pages. Now your multiple pages, you've got normal by default, and this is that mirror margins I was explaining to you. Now when you click on the mirror margins, notice the preview is showing you 2 pieces of paper. Now the major difference to this is you lose your right and left margins, because what you have now, you've got what you call your inside margins, which is this one to that one, these two here, and you've got your outside margins, which is this one to that one. So when you put these together, like when you're reading a book and these two pages go together, this margin goes to that margin and this inside one goes to that inside one. So up here you've got your inside margin, which is there, and your outside margin, which is there. So it is for when you're making a book, or if you're going to do, double-sided printing, you need to know that the inside margins go together and the outside margins go together. You've got 2 pages per sheet. That's obviously so you can have 2 pages on one sheet, and then you've got the book fold, which is again similar but on one piece of paper. It's similar to the mirror margins, but it's on one piece of paper. Normal. I'll just put it back to. That preview is just showing you roughly what it's going to look like, and this down here is very important, and it's applied to the whole document or from this point forward. So you can work the entire document or just the one section. I'll show you that when I do the column breaks. You'll see it in a moment. Then you come to the paper tab, which is here. Now this is obviously your sizes, where you pick your sizes up, and you just say, well, I want an A4, A5, whatever size you want. Underneath you can actually spin up the sizes that you want. Your paper source, this is for your printers. Now in a lot of companies they'll have the big printers and they'll have a default tray or automatic selected rear tray, whatever, but sometimes what they'll have is they'll have a high quality paper in, let's say, the rear tray, and that's for like the front cover, and then the other pages will go on the default tray, which is the just normal paper. But these are usually set up by your administrators. You've got your print options down here, so you can set all your little print options up, but these are just like your normal Word options, just your print section, that's all. But again, it's good to know that you can get to them from this dialog box. The layout box is the layout tab, is where you set up your sections. So this is where you can say section start, new page, or continuous, new column, whatever. But that's quite handy as well. We'll just say new page. Then here is the headers and the footers. Again, this is where you can set your headers and your footers up, but I am doing a complete video just on headers and footers. So if you want to know about headers and footers, go watch my video, headers and footers. Page alignment, vertical alignment is the top by default, but you can center it and you can put it at the bottom, and vertical alignment, so that's vertical alignment. Default is top, but you can play with that. Good for front covers. Down here, notice that you've got your line numbers, which I've already showed you, and you've got your borders and shading. Now when you go to your borders and shading on this one, notice it automatically takes you to the page border, because we're working on the page. We're working on the page itself, page setup. Down here on the page borders, you can get a little bit fancy, and you can go and you can pick the actual pictures. So this is worth, this is really good if you're doing a little flyer or a poster or something like that. There's lots of little pictures down here. Just have a little check out. It's good. It's good, good bit of fun, but it's worth a little look anyway. But that's your page. That's your page borders there as well, and that's your dialog box there basically. Now what I want to show you just before we close the video, I'll just get rid of that box. Now I'm going to highlight just this block of text here. I'm just gonna purely, it's to show you this hyphenation basically. I'm going to drop it into 3 columns, so you've got your 3 column data, and then what we'll do is I'll put the fully justified, so you can see there it's looking pretty good. Now if I say hyphenate, yeah, and automatic. So hyphenate, automatic. Notice how it's hyphenated all the words. So previous versions, look, there's the VER, hyphenation there, and then versions there. So what it's done effectively, it's hyphenated the words to make it look more parallel and neat and tidy on each. Just watch the text, just so you can see the actual text. Yeah, can you see the words between the spaces between the words are quite big without hyphenation? Then we put the hyphenation on and it brings everything in nice and neat and tidy. That is the hyphenation. So that's what the hyphenation does. Really well worth knowing what it's about basically. But you can hyphenate a document as well as just columns. But it's easier for me to show you on the columns. And that is your page setup. Only one thing I will say to you about one thing I want to add, sorry, is the purpose of your margins, left and right, top and bottom, but more left and right. The margins control the length of your line. So if someone asks you to adjust the length of your line, you have to adjust your margins because that's what controls it. Now notice here we're on 24.62 centimeters line length. So if somebody said to me adjust your line length, I would then adjust my margin, and notice now it now changes the line length. The line length appears about here, so just watch where my pointer is now. Now how I'm doing this, I'm just putting my mouse on the margin line and I'm holding the Alt key down and then clicking with the mouse. Notice 21.5 centimeters. But it's just literally remembering margins control the length of your line. And worth knowing basically. That's it for this video. Now look out for my other videos, which will be the page breaks, section breaks and column breaks, and the headers and the footers, because that's all relating to this video as well. Thank you very much for your time. Don't forget to check my other videos out, and if you sign up and subscribe with our channel, we do requests. So if you want to know how to do anything, mail merge, tables, anything like that, just drop us an email and we'll do you a video as soon as we can. Thank you. Bye.